So far, we've looked at using meditation and cognitive restructuring to change our mental states. But actually, it might be the case that visualization is even more useful and even more important. Most people believe that we think in thoughts. That is to say, that we have an inner monologue that works like the thought bubbles in comic books. More recent research, though, suggests that we can think in lots of modalities. Sometimes we visualize. Sometimes we imagine our bodies doing something and almost feel what we're thinking. And sometimes we just know. This latter example is called unsymbolized thought. And in fact, thinking with our bodies and our senses might just be what enabled us to develop thought in the first place. Briefly, embodied cognition is the idea that all our thoughts eventually relate back to physical experiences. When someone says something to you, or when you think something, your brain interprets this in such a way that it gives it meaning. You don't inherently understand language, which means the brain must be translating it into some kind of pure meaning. Psychologists once believed the brain had a language of its own that they called mentalese. More recently, though, more and more experts adopted the belief that we understand things by visualizing them. When someone tells you a story, you understand the story because your brain visualizes it happening to you. When someone tells you they walk through the snow, you visualize the color white. You imagine the cool air on your skin, and you almost hear the sound of the crunching snow underfoot. When we think higher level thoughts, we understand them only because we can relate them back to physical experiences via abstraction. Maths, after all, is fundamentally based on counting. This is also consistent with the idea that areas of our brain light up during visualization, just as though we were actually engaging in the action. If you imagine swinging a golf club, then neurons relating to that movement will fire in your brain. As far as your body and your brain is concerned, that might as well be happening. So it makes a lot of sense to combine visualization with your meditation training and with your restructuring. Don't believe that visualization can trick your brain into thinking something is happening and thereby alter your emotional state? Then just try reliving your most upsetting moments or imagining scenes from a very sad movie. You'll start to feel incredibly sad in no time. A well understood way to use the power of visualization is to go to a happy place during meditation. If you can't meditate in a calm and beautiful environment, then at least you can stimulate it in your mind's eye by imagining you're on a beautiful beach or in a log cabin in the mountains or in a large field getting plenty of sun. But you can also use visualization in order to alter your emotional state in other ways. For example, if you're struggling to focus on your work, then you might utilize visualization to create a little eustress to motivate you. To do this, you simply need to remember why you're doing the work and why it's important to you. So, let's say that you're working towards a presentation for a meeting. Visualize just how great it would feel to conquer that presentation and knock it out of the park. Then visualize what doing that repeatedly could one day lead to, a better career and a better salary, for instance. Now visualize the opposite. Imagine it going wrong and remember why it matters. You can do the same thing with almost anything you're struggling to focus on. By linking what you're doing back to the emotional hook and the reason you're doing it, you can much more effectively find the determination and drive that you need to complete it. Keep your goals in mind, and you'll be much more motivated every day to get out of bed and start working out, or to work on your personal project, or to put in your very best performance at your work.